Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Uncut, a podcast about directors, actors, and very, very, very specific genres. And this edition, it is one of those very, very, very specific genres, but we'll loop around to that in a little while. But to join us, we have been joined by Emma. Hello there.
Hello, how are you doing?
And making your debut on the podcast as well.
I'm very excited to be here.
What an odd episode to debut on as well. And the curator of this week's oddness is Rabia. Hello
Yeah.
there, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. Happy to be
Yes,
back.
we say it fine. It's the heat is slowly eating away at all of us. I think it would be fair to say. Um, I walked over a field this morning. I came back a different person. It was that hot. It was, yeah.
A
But we're
field of
all,
hotness.
oh yeah. We all good otherwise, everybody?
Yeah. These
I mean,
are,
as good as you can be, the world is on fire and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, just trying to survive with what we can,
yeah.
Yes. Let's not
watching
go down
movies.
that political
Yeah.
alley because that'll just derail everything completely. Oh well. But the theme for this episode, it's kind of an ambiguous one because it's not really a genre per se. The framing device that we had is teen romance or young romance in horror, which is better than Twilight, which is wide open. Um, and somebody has a vendetta against Twilight, so with that being the way it's framed, what is it with Twilight? Is Twilight's romance bad? I have
Well, Twilight, first of all, isn't horror, right? So let's put that up in front and center. Um, it's misrepresenting certain native mythology. It's misrepresenting vampire mythology because technically they aren't even vampires in Twilight. The werewolves aren't werewolves, they're shapeshifters. And then is it actually, you know, actual romance if both of the male leads are very abusive and manipulative to this very impressionable young girl that has no superpowers or personality of her own? So
that's pretty damning, I guess.
I say this while I used to work with the companies here locally that released Twilight book, the books and the movies. I have so much Twilight gear here at home against my own will. I'm trying to sell it off, but yeah, no. I mean, we got Robert Pattinson out of this,
Oh,
and
yes.
Kristen Stewart. So those are two amazing actors that have been able to grow to even more like better roles,
Yeah.
thankfully from and this is definitely the year of Robert Pattinson because with all of the roles that he's been doing this year, it's like, whoo, okay. He's showing range. He's definitely not a typecasted actor. So, but
I,
yeah,
lo-
no, Twilight was not it.
I loved how in the interviews for it he was not shy about how much he hated it.
Oh,
He
the
was,
derision is just so, it's dripping off him.
yeah, he has my respect forever for that.
Yeah.
Uh,
But he will never outrun or outgrow the girls that each time that autumn starts, when fall, winter season is there, all the hoa hoa hoas come out as they say it. And yeah, it's gonna be a legacy and until he dies, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be the what they put on the news when he passes away.
Yeah.
Twilight actor Robert Pattinson.
Edward Cullen's finally gone.
How
Hoa
about you,
hoa
Emma?
hoa hoa.
Do you have any stance on this one on Twilight?
I'm not a Twilight fan at all. I'm not one of, what were they called? Were they Twihards or something?
Yeah.
The fans. I read the books, I saw the films, and I was a bit older. So um I was just wanting to give Bella a good bloody shake. Like, yes, all this absolute nonsense of, he came into the room and I could barely breathe. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, please, no, 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 no.
Is
And
that
then no
actually a
some more.
thing?
Yeah, it's things like there's lines like my world stopped and
Yeah.
you know all that, and you're just like, jeez,
No,
no.
but that's the thing, right? I think that Twilight was the first time where fan fiction entered into the mainstream because
Hmm.
this is Wattpad writing. This is AO3 style writing. This is fan fiction writing, but then it got commercialized and all of a sudden everything that you were reading, on your on these Tumblr pages back in the day, all of a sudden became like it was now a book. And
Yeah,
now we were making fan fiction of this fan fiction that became more fan fiction that also got commercialized because let's not forget 50 Shades of Grey and a whole bunch of other
Mm.
movies that spawned out of this. It's insane. It's insane.
it is wild.
And from that franchise, where we're diverting about as hard as we can, because none of them are in the English language. There no, well, there is vampires, but nothing like what's in Twilight.
No.
And we're sort of bouncing around. So the three movies are, I need to read this because it's a very long title, one of them. Humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person. Um, Also Piggy, which is much easier to remember, and Krasue, Inhuman Kiss. I
Yeah.
think I'm pronouncing that right.
That-
Krasue.
It's a Krasue. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You said it correctly. It's a mythology, but the title in English is Inhuman Kiss.
Hmm. Yes. So we'll start with that one first because it's probably the least well known of the three.
Yeah, it
Um,
was on Netflix the longest time. I'm surprised not more people in the horror realm have seen this movie.
I think it's just one of those things. Especially with Thai and Indonesian stuff, it just gets uploaded at such a clip that it's just left to die, really, which is such a shame, really. Especially with the rise of, I've introduced somebody and I've completely forgotten the name. He had a TV show on Netflix.
Oh, you mean Joko Anwar, who had
Joko
Nightmares in
Anwar. Yes,
Dreamscapes.
there we
He
go.
has Ghost in the Cell coming out this year, which is supposedly amazing. I love his work. I've done a live podcast recording with him during the pandemic on Clubhouse, and
Wow.
he just ranted on for 3 hours straight, which was amazing. I was just everyone's just yum 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 eating it up. About, well, not even ranting, he was educating us about the history of Indonesian film and the film industry there, and how horror is such a big part of the local film industry and its impact and etc. So, no, it's amazing to talk to this guy. He's such a film nerd. Yeah, Joko Anwar, amazing, amazing, amazing. And there were 4,000 people live listening to this. So, yeah,
That sounds amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. Indonesia has a really good and modern sort of horror history, but Thailand, that's more historical. It's not really at the peak of its powers now. And this is where Inhuman Kiss comes from. Right now, for Thai horror, we're in the melodrama era, I guess we'll call it. And that's where this lands, I guess. I'm not great with names, so I'm not going to try and pronounce who directed this because Thai names are complicated, to say the least. But I guess I should give it a try, shouldn't I? It's only fair. Inhuman Kiss. Right. Oh, yes. Sitisiri Mongkolsiri.
Yeah, Sitisiri Mongkolsiri, yeah.
Um, and in this we have a love triangle really between Jade Noi and the female of the three, Sai.
Hi. Yes.
It gets deep in mythology. There's this thing called the Krasue, which possesses people, ish through water. If a woman drinks it, she basically, oh no, Robbie's telling me off. I'll hand over then. I'll hand over.
No, no worries, no worries. Mythology nerd here. I'll just dive into it. Krasue is orang Malalangal or Kuyang. There is a Kulalangal. There is Penanggalang and the Rokururobi. Are some of the many, 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 many names that this particular creature has. It's very popular in South and Southeast Asia, and that's where it's mostly known. So it's not only Thai. You have it in Cambodia, you have it in the Philippines, in Indonesia, Malay, even India, because some parts of these names also originate in Sanskrit. Basically, it's a female entity who at night, unbeknownst to herself, has her head detached from her body with her entrails still attached, and then goes out and sucks the blood of women or young children or unborn babies. Basically, that's in a very, very short nutshell. The mythology behind this. The Krasue from this particular movie is the Thai or Cambodian Krasue, and it's a curse or a infection almost that you can pass from one woman to another, but only if they've reached maturity. So if they have bled for the first time, they've reached like gotten their first period, and that's why very specifically you also see that Sai, for instance, when she gets her first period in this movie, without going too much into spoilers, that's a very significant moment in the film. There's another creature in this film as well that's often associated with the Krasue, specifically in Thailand and Cambodia, which is the Kahang. Wait, let me say this properly. Krahang, and that's almost like the male counter opposite of the Krasue, and that plays an important part in Inhuman Kiss as well. So that's a little bit of the mythology
Wow.
parts. Yeah.
That's incredible. Thank you.
Rabia, I could listen to you say those names all day. Just sounds so beautiful. That pronunciation is just so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. I'm half South Asian myself, and I specialize in Asian mythology. I love, 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 love this, and especially how it plays into horror. In Asia, we love horror. Asia makes up obviously more than 60% of the world population. They have the largest horror film franchises also in the world, larger even than the US and the UK have. So more than people in the Western world realize, and it's very normalized to consume even in a family setting, horror in a lot of these countries. So because of this mythology part being a very important part of their daily life as well, and it takes place in in the villages, but also in the city life, and how it forms people's morals and ethics in today's world. There's still a lot of significance of mythology in Asia, and there's a lot of crossover between all these countries when it comes to mythology. So yeah, I love diving into that.
And is it kept going? Is its kind of significance and its importance through
Yeah.
kind of generational storytelling? Is that
Yeah.
why it's still so
Yeah,
important?
definitely. So the same stories that we would hear as kids at nighttime, stories to warn us not to do certain things at night, or not to have certain behavioral patterns, or not to wash your hair at a certain time of the day of the week. These things are now turned into horror films and into creepypastas, for instance. So
Right.
yeah, this is the new era of these word of mouth stories, these, homegrown mythologies and folklore now taking a new form, and people are putting them on the big screen.
Amazing.
To the monster thing, the second monster in the movie was confusing, really, because from the Western gaze, it looks initially like a werewolf, because it has that trait about it, but at the same time, it's more scaly.
Yeah.
The fly, and they have sort of dragon tails.
It's
So,
the Krahang indeed, and it's I think what's most interesting about Inhuman Kiss is that the monsters are not really the thing that's happening. It's you have this to give a quick synopsis of the movie. Obviously there's a village in Thailand. It's I want to say post World War II. There is still some bombing happening, like the Vietnam War might be happening. They're vaguely hinting towards this, that there might be Americans or otherwise Westerners bombing Bangkok at the moment. And in this remote village out in the jungle, people are fearing a um, a Krasue, so the female monster that we're talking about, going around and killing women and children. So they're finding dead chickens and they're finding some dead livestock, but then all of a sudden also women start to die off. And there is this group of men that almost one-on-one represent very clearly like this manosphere, toxic masculinity group, very manipulative. They're defining what it means to be male. They're recruiting boys and very impressionable young men from all these villages to join them and then hyping them up to basically go around and start killing women that they presume are Krasue. Because they know that it has to be a woman whose head at night detaches and again presumably kills off these other humans.
hmm.
Not to spoil too much, but there is a big twist in that perspective, and that Krahang monster plays a very big part in it. It's also what that mythological creature sort of stands for, this very ugly representation of this toxic masculine overpowering trying to be beast. um, and that's what's so nice to see as well, because nothing is as it seems. So you have a girl who's potentially the vampire or the monster, and then you have this Edward Jacob triangle going on, but one of them completely commits to the manosphere and this toxic masculine group, it seems. And the other one is trying to use his brains, and he's been to the city, he studied a little bit more. You can tell that he's very committed in a softer approach and trying to find out what's actually happening. Or is this mass hysteria? Or is there actually a monster? And is it the women who are these monsters, or is there something else happening? So,
It's very approachable from a Western sort of European perspective as well, because as far as
yeah,
the plot rolls out,
yeah.
it is basically a almost one-to-one uh, similarity between the witch trials and what was
Ah,
going on there
yeah,
with
yeah,
the group of hunters who
yeah,
come to town. They're
yeah. It
basically
yeah,
the witch trials,
yeah,
people
yeah,
coming around. And one of those things about the witch trials that has kind of been lost to history is it was the sign of some very, very corrupt men, basically punishing and torturing people who didn't let them get away with what they wanted to get away with, or women who shunned them.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they're they basically were called witches and either drowned or hung or burned. Lovely time of
yeah.
European history, but there is a point there which they feel there's common ground that these two historical things are treading, I think, which makes it interesting because when you get into mythology, I mean, most mythology is based on a way to explain something normal, which people can't quite come to grips with. So they put like a supernatural face on it. Like the whole idea of werewolves was based on, well, wolves being quite bitey and eaty. But if you have go around the world, the idea of the werewolf doesn't exist. It's in other parts of the world where wolves aren't prevalent. You'll have different sort of animals doing that sort of thing, different things. I think that's how they did it in North America with the skinwalker. That's where that all
And
comes from.
shapeshifters, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I think this realm. Um, but as far as this movie, it all sort of compacts into this quite heightened piece of melodrama, which is kind of adorable, really, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. No, but when you said, okay, better than Twilight, and it needs to be horror because there is quite some gore still in
Oh
this
yes,
film.
absolutely.
And it doesn't do the very Western American thing of a happy ending. No spoilers for that.
No. I mean, it is a
Um,
melodrama. It goes
but
full
yeah,
bore melodrama, yeah.
it's definitely a melodrama, and there's I love a bit of yearning in a teenage love story. So if they can inject a little bit of yearning or sadness or indeed like enough melodrama, then it would qualify for me as a good better than a Twilight contender.
And they have autonomy as well. Everybody has autonomy.
Yeah, yeah,
As far as what I've heard about Twilight, anyway,
yeah.
it's all very shallow as far as romance goes.
Again, it's very much giving Wattpad, Tumblr, fan fiction era, a 16-year-old just in their base writing phase, writing a character. You used to have Y/N, which is your name,
Hmm.
stories where you could insert yourself
Oh yes, I
basically.
remember those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And basically, if you remove the name Bella from Twilight and you put in Y/N, I mean, Bella has no very distinguished characteristics until like the last book and the last movies. So
Hmm.
she can be anyone. What are her hobbies? Oh, all the hobbies, you know? She likes reading. And she's not conventionally attractive, but everyone sees her as such. It's the teenage girl dream. You're sitting at home listening to, some emo music, and specifically, if in this case, what was it again? Because it was based on one particular band, but yeah, it's you
Yeah.
listen to some emo music and you're dreaming up that you're gonna be the belle of the ball, uh, and even though you're not conventionally the popular girl in school.
Yes. Whereas this, they're all put together. She's a nurse who's beloved in the local community, especially by the kids. The kids adore her.
Yeah.
Um, there's a doctor. Well, he's not technically qualified yet,
Yeah.
but he's studying. And the other one who is a bit more easily swayed, I guess. It turns out with a twist that it's not as black and white as it initially seemed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, these are all characters, and there's a genuine level of heartbreak in it for one of the characters because, again, can't really spoil it, but it no decision is black and white. There's chemistry there. There's
I want to
it
say
kind
at
of
the
women
at
hating as well. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, but I mean it's portraying women who hate against women and how unjustified it is. Which is what I like so much about this film. And there's
yeah,
no happy ending for anyone. And there's everyone is sad at the end of the movie, including the person watching.
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I can't use the slur, but there's a slur for promiscuous women, and
Mm,
there's a character who almost suggests that a promiscuous woman isn't deserving of being saved,
yeah,
and that she should
yeah,
be punished. Says, wow, that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
bit strong.
Yeah, again, like that's that whole group of manosphere, hyper masculine, toxic masculinity group of men that are pursuing all these women and deciding their fate. And they're so casual about it and about throwing out these accusations. Oh, this woman is doing this particular thing that I don't agree with, or she's not listening enough. She must be a witch, or in this case, a Krasue. Let's kill her.
Hmm.
It's obedience or die, right? And that's,
Yeah,
I
it's
think, a
very grim.
very,
Yeah,
yeah,
really interesting movie. It's one of this sort of encapsulates a lot of the reasons why I like watching world cinema because you
yeah.
do see more of the world than maybe you could ever, via uh, putting your feet on the ground, really, experiencing these cultures, experiencing these types of stories. And you find a lot of the stuff is very common across the world.
Yeah.
As I said, there's more that keeps us, or more that unites us than divides us, really. And seeing this sort of story does help with that sort of thing, I feel.
True, true.
Hmm.
There's way more movies with, by the way, this Krasue, Up, Kazu, Kuyang, Leyak, Penangal, Manalangal creatures in them. There's really, really old movies as well. I do recommend checking out. I think I might have a letterbox list on this, but there's so many people who have a letterbox list on this to look for specifically this myth and just watch a bunch of these movies, especially I think the most famous one from the 80s is uh I think Myths of Bali or something like that it's called. That's an Indonesian one. But there's so many versions. Like I said, you have the Rokurobi, which is the Japanese version as well. And they all have this version of like this woman that detaches from her body and becomes this entity, and often
Yeah.
unbeknownst
That's
to herself. Yeah, yeah,
that's a thing I really envy of West European cinema, especially.
yeah. Mm.
European cinema has amazing myths and folklore and legends, but we don't do anything with them
Mm.
at all.
Which is a
Like
shame. Yeah,
so much, like Slavic folklore, Irish, Celtic. There's just tons of stuff, and
yeah.
it's all just nothing.
Well, a few people decided, okay, we're going with lichens and vampires, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the binary we've got.
Where's the
Lichens,
dull?
vampires, and witches. Yeah.
Where's the Dullahan movies? Give me some Dullahan movies.
Well, actually, since you're mentioning that, because that is because that's the headless rider, right? If I'm saying
Yes.
that correctly. I mean, technically, that's a far away cousin of the Krasue, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Few degrees separation. Yeah.
Yeah, just a few.
So we'll move to the next one. We'll head to is it French or Canadian French? Another
As Canadian French.
so over to Canada, over to Quebec area. For oh, I need to get my phone out again because it's
I
such
can
a long
say it
title.
otherwise. The humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person.
Yes. So pretty straightforward concept here. We have Sasha, who well, even before that, I just want to say the mythology of vampires in this is so fascinating. It's like a whole world of things that are going on sort of underneath sort of human communities, really. But within born into that is a young girl called Sasha, who in the opening scene we see her, I don't know what age she is, but we see her have a birthday party, in which she's got a clown for her
Yes.
birthday. So the clown does a bit of a dance, does a bit of a performance, and then they make the realizations, okay, and then we're going to eat him, right? And
Rico the clown. Yeah,
yeah,
Poor Rico.
yeah,
it goes on from there. But she has a bit of a problem with blood and killing people, Sasha. She has empathy for her food, essentially. And that's what the movie is about. It's about Sasha maybe trying to overcome that. And she heads to a group therapy session where she meets her new friend. Sorry, what's his name again?
Paul.
Paul. Yes, thank you. And he wants to sacrifice himself essentially to Sasha, so he can come up, she can overcome this fear of murdering things, and it's the relationship that blossoms therein, and it's excellent, frankly.
It's so beautiful.
This movie, during its festival year, won several awards, worldwide on each of the festivals that it passed through, or barely, because sometimes it was like second place, and I was like, ah. But this is so adorable when it comes to
Yeah,
whimsical almost, and again, melodrama, but there's this whimsicality to this horror movie, because it is still a horror movie, and about the young love, cuteness, and what do you do if you're both basically done with the world and don't want to abide by its laws, how do you then continue
Yeah.
if you end up finding the love of your life?
Yeah. So Emma, what did you think of, call it just vampire? It's too long of a title to
Yeah.
repeat all the time.
Humanist
Call it
vampire, yeah.
Humanist Vampire, yeah.
Humanist vampire, yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was so, so beautiful. Um, I loved the charm of it, the way that the connection was just so, if we're comparing it to Twilight, there is just such a balance in the relationship between the two. It is complete respect and understanding for each other that grows with this lovely kind of typical blossoming together, which I just thought was so, so lovely. They see each other, they hear each other, and they are completely respectful of each other's kind of what what they have capacity for. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's just this lovely kind of, they're both at such a tricky time in their lives, personally, developmentally, and they just form this quiet bond that doesn't, it doesn't threaten anything else. It's not like Edward and Bella, it's just gentle and calm and kind, and
Mm.
oh, I just loved it, and it was just so visually beautiful. I was really struck in the first few scenes about how much it reminded me of The Exorcist, and how
Oh.
Sasha's kind of empathy is treated as a defect, and it just made me think of kind of the hospital scenes with Reagan, and trying to find out what is wrong with her. And I was kind of a bit like, where, where are we going here with this? But I loved that Sasha's dad had so many beautiful conversations about just letting her be who she's going to be. So I just absolutely adored it, and had heard of it. But I want to thank you for kind of bringing this to the top of the watch list, because I cannot wait to show more people this film.
Yeah, same. It's been on my watch list for years, and it just felt like needed that nudge to finally watch it because
I'm so happy.
it's just a little beautiful moments as well when they connect. And she said, I think Paul says, "What music would you play as you're going to die?" And she puts on this record. You just see her
Emotions, is
dancing
it?
along and singing. It's so genuine, really.
Ah,
Very, very sweet.
oh, I
Sweetheart of a
just
movie.
that is exactly it. Do you know, it was just so so lovely, and funny. So many funny little bits that really kind of, like the family kind of closing in on the clown. I laughed out loud at that because it was just kind of almost like what we do in the shadows type thing. It was just, oh, it just absolute chef's kiss, as they say.
Yes.
I'm happy that I have more people now spreading the gospel of humanist vampire. Please go spread the word about this movie.
Oh, my
Yes.
eldest daughter, um, I know she is just going to love this film. I cannot wait to send it to her and say, you have to watch this immediately, if not sooner.
Amazing.
The thing, going back to the beginning, though, it's a type of vampirism that I've never really seen before because it's all sort of cloak and dagger usually. Got what we do in the shadows. It seems to have little communities sort of buried away across the world, but it seems like they've got doctors, they've got
Vampire
hospitals,
dentist.
they've got
Yeah.
all this stuff going on. It's like this is a fascinating little world they've got building going on there. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's fully almost like fleshed out. And again, t going back to that yearning bit, there is so much yearning from the boy in this case towards, Sasha. And oh, it's just I loved it. I love when you once you get to the ending and it's just yeah.
I just, yeah, I'll not. give any spoilers, but I just love that they have found a, what's the word? Not a resolution, but this lovely way that they can exist that completely aligns with their values. You're just like, that's all anybody wants, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a brutal world that they exist because she's basically shipped off to live with her cousin
Yeah.
to learn how to become a vampire, and she is,
Brutal.
yeah, yeah,
The garden is brutal.
yeah, because there's a great bit. I think it just shows Sasha. It's like got the voices out of whack with everything, really. And as far as I understand it, she basically hooks people up to the wall with these huge things and starts drinking from them. And it's so graphic. But you only just hear it in the background, which is bold, I think. Not many you kind of have to show with this stuff for a lot of directors. But telling, I guess, in that situation is very ambitious.
And I think the mind also fills in much more graphic details than actually showing it. And I think that's what the nice thing is about that almost comedic play of like cutting away and showing something else in the meantime is that you know something utterly gruesome is happening, but you can only start thinking and fantasizing yourself what it is.
Yeah. It's just full of little details like that. Like she's really good at piano, and her dad questions whether she's getting secret lessons. It's like, oh, vampires have these issues too.
Yeah. It's when they say it's in her blood. You're just like, oh, that's just perfect.
Yeah,
So cute.
yeah,
What a cute little girl. You know, she's got, I love that Sasha always looks her age. Now, that sounds ridiculous because she's when she's little, she's like meant to be 60, isn't she? And
mm,
unless I've got the ages mixed up. But I love that she's never coded as old, kind of she doesn't dress older, she doesn't have her hair older or anything, and she's very much looks how she did as a child, and I love that because that really plays into the kind of the innocence and the charm of her as well. But oh my God, the little girl was just such a wee cutie, these big dark eyes and the little fringe, and it was very Amelie, I thought, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's almost like a French version of a Wednesday, if because she has that also that stoicism almost and that
Yeah.
very yeah. So, but again, like not sexualized, not overhyped, not there's nothing too much of anything. It's nice, subtle, and realistic the way
Yeah.
that she's portrayed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to. I can't really. Oh, I have to. It ends like Doctor Sleep. Ah, in the sense of they become Doctor Sleep.
Mm.
I can't. It's a
I'm
really
okay with
interesting ending,
that.
but I can't spoil it. But it's a really interesting way that they've ended it.
Yeah.
Um, because that is the thing. The title is basically Paul is trying to come up with ways that things can go on as normal and they can effectively go on the run without causing issues for anybody. And he's pinned this advert, humanist vampires seeking consensual suicidal person, and that's the advert. Really, it has that pragmatism to it. He apparently drunk too much coffee because he said he realized that she can't drink it, so he had both of them. And he's been up all night with these plans, and it's just very real. And I just think it's wonderful. And that, yeah,
It says so much about people being able to die with dignity as well. Do you know, there's just there's so much about the wider world. Um, I'm an early years teacher, and um, a big part of my job is kind of supporting families whose children have additional support needs. And just there was so much that Sasha's dad was saying that just absolutely wrapped around my heart about, she's just developing the way she's going to develop, and we're not going to push her, we're going to let her be her. And it was just so lovely to see that there's this person who will always champion her for who she is, and it was just so lovely. I mean, those are conversations that I've had with families as well, where where they've said we don't want any intervention, we're just going to let them kind of develop at their own pace and things, and it was just so lovely to hear that kind of thing play out in obviously this fantastical world, but actually those elements are always the same regardless, you know.
Absolutely. Um, it's interesting, and the sorry, my brain's melting at the moment.
Sorry, I totally digressed there.
No.
Feel free to cut that out, Rob, if
Oh
it's
no, I
not
don't cut
relevant.
anything out. It's not. It's called Uncut for a reason.
Well, God, don't say that.
Yeah, it's just there. It reminds me of another movie that I've seen recently. The sort of way that it approaches vampirism. It's not like, oh my God, vampires are real. This is terrifying. There was a movie at Fantasia from a French director called I Love Paris, which
Oh.
is exactly the same. That's more of sort of a faux documentary. Um, but it doesn't make this big show, this big song and dance about vampires being real. It's just, oh, they're real. Okay, what's next? And it sort of manifests through the way that everybody is as well. It's not like vampires are supposed to dress in these big sort of Dickensian or Gothic outfits and Livonian castles. No, it's like 2.4 children completely. It's so normal. And I think that's just kind of what vampire cinema was missing, really, because it always like hypes them up as these ridiculous, campy things when, I think it's scarier potentially. It isn't a scary movie, even though it is horror, but it's scarier potentially when it's just normal people are vampires. I think it does really well.
Mm-hmm. Could be your
Yes.
next door neighbor.
We've all had our funny neighbours.
Yes.
Nocturnal neighbors. Are those night shifts or are they a vampire?
Yeah, absolutely. Night shifts or night shifts.
Mm.
But to the concept of this episode, it's the relationship to Twilight. It's just night and day
Yeah.
as far as how the relationship plays out. Because it isn't a relationship at first. It's
Collaboration.
it's a contract. It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it more believable, really, because they don't have any expectations, and that relationship just appears, and it's real.
Yeah, but I think that makes it again better than Twilight is there's this one-sided yearning where he has already, Paul at one point has already figured out that what he's looking at is the best thing that has ever happened in his life, and who he's hanging with is changing his whole perspective. And then eventually he just needs Sasha to catch up to that, right? Whereas there's no manipulation or like this grooming or anything like that happening, which does happen in Twilight. So, I mean, it's definitely a big contrast in, and again, the word consent is in the title because there is consenting humans collaborating, and that blooms into something else.
Yes. Any other thoughts on Humanist Vampire before we move on? Emma, anything else? Yes,
No.
but this is a wonderful movie. If you've not seen it, it does come with a wholehearted recommendation. I know people may be put off by the title because it does sound sort of a bit, I hate this word, but arty-farty. But it's not. It's just generally a sweetheart of a movie.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a great segue to the last movie, which it is not a sweetheart of a movie. It is a ugly, ugly movie.
Oh, yikes.
This is Piggy, which I think is one of a handful of movies that ever got a standing ovation at FrightFest, if I remember my movie law well. And where to begin with this? It's about a young woman who's the daughter of a butcher's family who is, when I say mercilessly bullied, um, I don't think that sells it enough.
No,
No,
no.
no.
No, she is bullied to a she is already on this psychological break at this point. By the time that we see her in the movie, it's made clear that, the word piggy or cerdita in Spanish is this slur used against her.
Yeah,
Everyone is very two-faced to in the village towards her parents about how they're treating her. They're two-faced towards her, fake friendships, and she's really pushed to this psychological break. And then, the plot of the movie basically starts coming in. Yeah,
It's not just psychological either. The
yeah,
peak of the bullying is at a public pool
yeah,
where they're near enough, well, try to drown her really with like a net over her head. It's grim.
yeah.
Probably as far as violence goes, it's one of the more difficult movies I've watched in a while. I don't know if you two would agree with that. Um,
Agreed.
yeah, absolutely. That scene was so, so upsetting.
mm,
But then, especially everything that happens after that
Yeah.
feels almost cathartic, I want to say.
Yes.
Because I don't know if either of you have been bullied in school, but I was bullied in high school, and if you've been pushed to it, and thankfully I was in high school pre-social media, so it wasn't as bad for kids nowadays that everything's being put on the internet as well, because these girls film the main character, Sarah, and then also like spread it around through messages. So it's not just that very harrowing moment that she goes through. The evidence of it is then also spread to everyone she knows, and it's used against her. No one's thinking like, oh, poor girl, she's being drowned. Everyone's going like, ha ha ha, and like, using it as fuel to even torment her even more. So once we get that moment, oh, and then yeah.
yeah.
You want me to do the quick synopsis on this? I'm actually excited for
Oh, well,
this.
go ahead.
So Piggy is, well, we have Sarah who's being bullied. To a psychological and physical break. And in the meantime, we're slowly getting clues left and right that there might be a serial killer on the loose. And what happens? This serial killer takes a liking to Sarah, and Sarah knows that he has kidnapped three of her bullies and is planning to kill them. And she is just so much in her I don't give a fuck anymore phase that she's like, you know what, karma is karma, but she also doesn't want to get caught up too much. And then this whole almost like, I want to say old school, villagey, cartoonish interaction starts with the police, with her mom, with other mothers of the missing girls, and then more and more of how this intricate social web of this village is knit together, uh, becomes, unearthed and exposed, and you find out that it's a systemic thing that is happening to her, and that it was ignored before, but then she's also undergoing abuse by her mom, for instance, and by her little
Hmm.
brother. I think the dad is the only redeeming character in this whole movie. So yeah, when this all takes place and she just goes like, yeah, yeah, maybe it's illegal.
Yeah, it's psychologically grueling. Her mum was giving off Carrie's mum sort
Yeah.
of vibes, all emotional torture to it, almost psychotic
Yeah.
level.
Mm.
But Emma, what's your feelings on Piggy?
Oh, yikes. I mean, just what a difficult watch, as t t Sarah just looks, as you said, Rabia, she's so broken before anything actually even happens. And we see that. She has these, she's eaten her hair. which
Yeah.
is clearly a kind of anxiety response that she has. And before even anything happens, those girls come into the butcher shop, and she she kind of freezes, and then she gets berated for, being lazy or not listening and things. And then we see that again, that is her trauma response, because when the kidnapping happens, she freezes. She doesn't go into action, and Claudia's banging on the window for her to kind of come to action, to do something, and she just can't do it. She really reverts into this childlike um response of kind of just making these kind of guttural sounds. She just can't, oh, and then yeah, and we see that throughout the film, is that she just seems to be lurching from one trauma, um kind of how she internalizes it to the other, while all this chaos is happening around her. And then as you said, we've got the villagers, we've got the mum, but then the mum does stand up for her as well. It's so complex, the mum really goes kind of nose to nose with it's Claudia's mum, isn't it? And really goes, kind of nose to nose with her. And how dare you accuse my child? Your child has done this. And it's so powerful, and the ending is, oh, wow.
Does have using the bullying thing as well. Another instance where it's you can just if you don't empathize with that, I think you've got a heart of stone. Where she
Yeah.
has all of her stuff stolen and she has to walk back to town in her bikini,
Yep.
Yeah.
and just passerby are just gruelingly
Oh,
horrible to her.
they actually, did that group of boys actually get out the car to hit her?
Yeah.
And you're just like, on what?
Yeah.
I just cannot relate to that kind of thinking. And I think what really struck me, and I wrote it down in my notes, is that the bullying of her isn't this kind of quiet kind of um comments and things like that. It is complete annihilation of her character, and utter humiliation of her. They know exactly what they're doing by forcing her to walk through the town. It's almost medieval, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
that
Mm.
shame of being presented through this little market town.
Yeah. Yeah.
In her bikini, and she is grabbing herself. It almost reminded me of a kind of post-rape scene
Yeah.
when she's
Yeah.
staggering down that path,
I mean, she has
clutching at
been
herself,
assaulted, she's been
utterly violated.
exposed, she's
Yeah,
violated in other ways, obviously. And then she's walking back into this town so exposed, literally. And the only thing that's going through her mind at that moment is like, how is my mom gonna pin this on me? Or how am I gonna get
yes,
scolded? So she's at the same time trying to hide that this horrible thing has happened to her because she knows that no matter what else she does or explains, they're gonna pin this on her or
yeah,
turn this on her or use this against her again. And it happens later on in the movie as well. There is this guy who's supposedly, supposedly a little nice to her, and he's the boyfriend of one of the girls, and but then he reveals that he has a video of her being violated and almost drowned. And he knows that that happens because that's how he knows she was at the pool with the bullies who then had gone missing. So everyone's complicit. Everyone's so complicit. And she is just so utterly alienated by everyone, including her family in that town, except for her dad. Yeah. Who is then so ignorant at the same time, and I don't know if it's willfully so, that he does not realize that all this awful stuff is happening to his daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite eye-opening because I watched quite a bit of Korean stuff, and I thought they had a handle on extreme bullying in their media. And they do, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but this is a level above, which I think if anything gets this 18 plus rated, it's just that, because it's a hard watch, a very hard
for
watch.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did mention the ending, so can we talk around that maybe, do you think? Because it does come with this idea of, do
The
you
thing is that the
forgive? You
yeah,
know?
I think with Piggy, you can't talk about the romance without talking a little bit more into spoiler theory. So yeah, I would say
Yeah.
let's for Piggy, spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a few years old now, isn't it?
Yes,
It's
yes. It came out
20.
in 22. It was just that movie that was doing the festival rounds post-pandemic or slightly on the on the ending tail of lockdowns worldwide. So I think that's why it didn't get as much international attention. Um, but at the same time, it was doing really well on the festivals that it was playing at. Yeah.
It was indeed, yeah. I mean, the reason why I never watched it is because where the ending goes, it had this reputation of being a torture porn movie, which having watched it now, I think that's wildly inaccurate, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seems a
Yeah.
bit unfair actually that
Yeah.
it's kind of credited with that.
It's definitely not that. No,
It's not
Yeah,
easy, but it's not
no,
it's not the kind of endurance exercise that I always associate with that kind of film.
no. No,
yeah,
and there is a lot of psychological torture that you see
Hmm.
her go through. So in that sense, there is definitely a prolonged, um, you just see her get from one awful situation into worse, into worse, into worse. And then obviously she works towards this point of break, complete break, mental break. But then also finding this type of solace and a person who actually likes her, namely the serial killer. And it's so double. It feels almost mean at that point because he's trying to protect her, he's killing people for her, he's trying to be with her, he respects her body the way that it is, and he just wants her as a woman. But at the same time, he's a serial killer.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
what it's just such an interesting idea, isn't it? When you've been so humiliated and ignored and invisible, or
yeah.
made to feel invisible, made to feel disgusting, the person who finally sees you is a monster.
yeah.
And
And
that just
you relate to him as well. You cheer him on a little bit because it
Yeah.
just seems like literally everybody in that town has it out for Sarah. It's
Yeah.
it's, is Spain okay?
proper it's witch hunting, isn't it?
Yeah,
Kind of going
Yeah.
back to our earlier conversations,
yeah,
is there is a mob
yeah,
kind of baying for her.
yeah,
Yeah, it's all about body image as well, which is
Yeah.
in today's age, 2022. I don't know when this is. I mean, there's mobile phones and it
yeah.
hints heavily at Instagram, so it's
Yeah.
very contemporary.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
And like
But
I said, her bullying is being spread online, so it's something that a lot more people are participating in, and are aware of and willfully ignoring, for the sake of the peace of the community, basically. So she's been painted as like this jester almost, even though she's not consensually jesting. She's painted as the clown of the town, the one that everyone can piss down on,
Yeah.
and punch down on, as a whole community. And no one's really doing anything about it. There's no compassion for her. So when she has to show compassion, it has to come from very, very deep, which I understand because I mean, once we reach that moment that where she has to choose, do I save people or do I continue with this man who loves me but happens to be a serial killer? I mean, I don't hold it against her that she has a flicker of doubt in that moment because what is she going back to,
Mm.
right? Like, is the monster the better choice for her at that moment?
Yeah.
and what she going back to as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Yeah.
it all kicks off in that final act.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, because her biggest bully is effectively is her mum,
yeah.
who
Yeah.
is Oof, very complicated character, as we mentioned previously. She will defend her to the hilt,
Hmm.
but nobody is as biting and as cynical and as harsh as she
Oh.
is. It's very morally complicated,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that relationship. Yeah.
And no
I-
empathy to the mum at all for Sarah, which I cannot relate to at all. I just, you can see Sarah is broken, and that doesn't register with her mum whatsoever.
There's a scene, and I think that was the most telling for me, for their relationship between Sarah and her mom, is Sarah has just done something. I'll try to stay away from what she's doing. But there's a situation she's trying to hide the evidence of what she's done, and her mother ends up coming downstairs and discovering her. And Sarah is just so scared in that moment that her mom will discover what she's done or what she's hiding. But no, the mom is so prejudiced in her thinking about her own daughter. She ignores all the signs of what her daughter is hiding, and it and immediately jumps to the conclusion that her daughter is being shifty and mysterious about what she's doing or hiding something because she's trying to eat cookies or biscuits and chocolate. And the moment that Sarah realizes this, and you see this shift in her face, because she's like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything," and her voice gets higher when she almost feels like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to lie about this," and then she says like, "Oh yeah, I was grabbing biscuits and chocolate," and the mom goes, "Yeah, see, you're, and goes into this whole rant of fat shaming her. Mind you, right there is evidence of something way worse happening, and the mom is just blind to it because she's only focused to how she sees her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
which is someone who's overweight and would be downstairs at night to steal food.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Really interesting movie. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because it has a structure like, don't really get them anymore now because of the rise of the internet, but the old Poison Pen movies, um, some from France in the 1960s, all very World War II coded, where the town just sort of, well, eats itself alive, really.
Mm.
So it's just very, very interesting movie, but I never want to see it again.
No, this is one you normally watch once, or in this case, I've watched it twice, but yes, it's a one and done. It's a great movie, but it's a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. But to the Twilight connection of it being better than Twilight, what do we both think on that one?
Do we wish that there was a serial killer that was taking out the Cullens? Is that where we're going with that?
And
Well,
now,
we can if we want.
well, I mean, that would be one interpretation. The reason I put this one on the ballot is, or part of the creation is, it is a non-conventional love story. It doesn't have a happy ending per se. There is a monster involved, not a literal mythological monster, but still a monster in other terms. And there's no grooming involved. He is kind of her savior in a way, but it's not the societal, ethical, morally correct choice to choose to be with this, to complete this love story. So yeah, it has a tragic ending because of that. But yeah, what if it comes back to that whole fantasy again, right? Like, oh, I'm not the popular girl in school, but the most hot guy in the school is gonna notice me. The Cullens are gonna notice me, and I'm gonna be the talk of the town, the belle of the ball. Um, for Piggy, this is, in Piggy, this is for Sarah the thing. Like, someone notices her, someone makes her the most important person in this really big story that is happening, and it's taking away the people who are making her feel less.
Yeah,
um, so yes, definitely better than Twilight, in my opinion, because of
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And it's not packaged beautifully at the end either. Do you know, there's no kind of quiet nod from the bullies to Piggy. There's no we're going to become friends or anything after this, which is just exactly the kind of thing that you would see in Twilight, is that there's a quiet acceptance between sworn enemies and think that kind of thing. There is nothing is neatly tied up, and nor would it be in that situation.
Mhm. It does have somebody else sees her as an actual person as well. The boy who's initially throwing questions about her, because he watched the video, his girlfriend's missing. Uh, he almost becomes almost the confidant, really.
He
Which,
betrays her though at one point. I
oh,
mean,
he
Yeah.
does, but I think that's even morally grey, isn't it? It's almost like he's trying to push her to actually admit what's happened, rather than throwing her under the bus. It's so the whole thing's just shades of grey. Every aspect of this movie, it's so fascinating on that front.
Even the police seem there's an element of kind of, or you think there's an element of kindness with the police initially, but then it just slides into that kind of um that kind of village mentality that you were talking about, of how she is the joke,
yeah.
and they don't have that kind of gentleness in the way that they speak to her and things, and she's just not afforded the same kind of grace that the other girls her age would be afforded.
Won't forget that bullying in a long time. Um, but it is what it is, I guess. Fair play to the director for feeling brave enough to depict that. Um, but yes, wrapping up with a question, putting you both on the spot. Other movies that we haven't talked about today that maybe you could describe as a horror movie, which is better than Twilight as far as depicting teen romance. So, do you have any? I mean, I could start if you want. I have
Yeah.
two. I want to look at it from an American angle because we haven't really touched on that one. There's one from, I don't think he got a fair shot, really. Lisa Frankenstein,
Oh,
Mm,
um,
yeah.
lovely.
directed by Robin Williams' daughter, which is uh,
Is it Zelda Williams?
it is Zelda Williams, yes. Really interesting take on zombie folklore, but it's just all about this chemistry and relationship developing between these two, well, weirdos, essentially. um, and the other one is a movie which I mentioned probably too much, but I really, really liked it. It's I think it's from Brian Duffield. It was called Spontaneous. It was a movie about school shootings, but because it was released during COVID, it's well, it became about COVID, and it's just about spontaneous human combustions happening in a high school, really, violently. And there's a relationship between the two kids at that school, and it feels really lived in and genuine. And I love that movie, Spontaneous. So yeah, passing the baton over to whoever wants it next.
Rabia, on you go.
Oh, okay. In that case, one of my other ones on my list is also an American one, Tammy and the T-Rex. It's Paul
Yes.
Walker. And what's her name? I always forget the actress's name. Very famous. The lore behind this movie is amazing. I think Joe Bob on Shudder did an episode about it as well. Look it up online. It starts with this Dutch guy I want to say Colombia, who has a mechanical T-Rex for a few weeks, then hires a American director to make a movie with it, and they end up with this weird plot. And most of the movie was lost, but then they found it somewhere in Eastern Europe, so it got restored again. The plot is in high school, the cheerleader, there's the jock, and there is a mechanical T-Rex that experiments are being happening with. The jock accidentally gets killed, or not accidentally, gets murdered by someone. Um, and to save him, they put his conscience into the mechanical T-Rex. Um, it's amazing.
It's wild.
It's amazing.
It sounds fantastic.
I want to describe less of it. You have to just watch it. And please afterwards also read up or watch some YouTube videos about all the production issues that they had. There were California fires happening during the making of this film, and they have it on the background of some of the shots even. Um, it has amazing lore and definitely better than Twilight. And another one, and this was sparked by you saying Spontaneous and Lisa Frankenstein, Warm Bodies.
Oh yes.
Is a good
lovely.
one, obviously, like reversing zombieism through a teenage, well, it's slightly older than teenage college love in this case, but yeah, still better than Twilight if you ask me. So yeah, if I'm talking about two Western specific films, then I would say those two, definitely. And maybe as an extra, like a special mention, Battle Royale, but just watch it. Japanese.
I haven't seen that in years, so that when you recommended that, that's such a left field. I can't remember any romance from that.
Oh, I mean, the main character is motivated by romance to survive, even. Yeah.
Don't read the manga, also,
No.
listeners, because it is pornography. So
Well,
yeah.
the both manga and the book are very extreme. In Japanese art and cultural norms, it is kind of normalized or accepted to have very extensive sexual assault scenes. So yeah, you might want to stay away from that.
Just stick with the first movie, and even the second one. You could give it a bit of a wide berth. That one.
Yeah. But the first, if you've seen the first one, you've seen the best of it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Emma, your picks, your shouts.
I feel like mine are probably quite basic. Let the Right One In.
Oh,
It's
nice.
Not that
so
basic these days. It's kind of
beautiful.
forgotten a little bit, that one.
It's so I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand it is that it has Oscar and Eli's relationship does have its problematic elements. I absolutely do. But just in terms of two people being seen for who they are and protected, it absolutely is 100 miles ahead of Twilight. And this isn't in terms of a romantic relationship, but Sydney and Tatum's sisterhood in Scream, but also Nancy and Tina's sisterhood in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Because
Oh.
the friendships that Bella has are really toxic. They are not good friendships, and I feel that they are both really good examples of how a friendship can be.
Yeah.
Both sets of girls are very different. You get the impression Tatum's very popular compared to Sydney's less so, but that doesn't matter. There's just a really beautiful sisterhood between the two sets of girls. So yeah, again, 100 miles ahead of anything that we see in Twilight. Please don't watch Twilight. Watch all those films that we've talked about that aren't Twilight.
Oh yeah, there's such a rich vein of horror romance as well, and for that to be sort of the poster child of it,
Yeah.
no, we
No,
can't have
there's
that.
just so many beautiful love stories in horror. So many love stories are horrible and are horror.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, 100% agree. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes, so I think that wraps us up for this week. I think the next episode after this will be the FrightFest special,
Mm.
which, yes, we do that every year, talk about some of the highlights. There's a few that I've already seen, which I am a big fan of. Hopefully it's in my list, but Homebodies is amazing. Big fan of that one. But yeah, where can we find people online? Rabia, where can we find you and the things that you do?
I am on Blue Sky, Instagram, I want to say YouTube as well. Just if you type me in on Letterboxd and you type in RPISH or RPish, I'm on all these socials. And I also post where I write because I write for different outlets. I also do a podcast, Cultured Curators, which is also mentioned on these socials of mine. So if you follow me on RPish, then you'll be able to follow all of those fun things. And I love making lists on Letterboxd. So if you love niche lists for movies, especially Asian movies and horror and cults, then follow me on Letterboxd and follow along.
And Emma, yourself, where can we find you online?
You can find me over at the Horror and Her podcast, which is a feminist horror podcast where I talk to guests about the films that did it for them and how horror speaks to them throughout their life. Um, you can also find me at the Movies in the 90s, which I co-host. But yeah, you can come over and say hello on Instagram because I'm always on there, and it's at the Horror and Her podcast.
And you can find me online at Uncut Podcast on the Letterboxd, Blue Sky, and Instagram. My Instagram's going to be very much heavily with production stuff for my second short film, which hopefully not all the film festivals say no to this time. Venting. But only ways upwards. But yes. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one with our look at FrightFest 2026. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.